Good YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Big Lifestyle. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down three picks. I unfortunately didn't get a video out last week for my week 2 predictions. I was pretty devastated, I'm not going to lie, pretty down bad after that week 1 loss for my Giants. So, wasn't feeling very motivated if I'm being. We're back in business now. Giants looked very good last week despite losing in such a horrible fashion, but they showed me something, so I'm feeling energized. So let's get into it. First matchup of the week tomorrow, Thursday night game. We got Bills versus Dolphins. I don't really think there's much to say here. I got the Bills winning that pretty easily. As you can see, they were 99% favorites, and I'm gonna have to agree with that. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL currently. Proved why he's the MVP. Dolphins don't have a defense, and Tua's just cooked. So I'm gonna go with the Bills here. So Sunday morning games. Here we go. We got the Falcons versus the Panthers. Falcons are favored by 94%. I'm not going to give it as a lock. I don't think the Falcons are for sure winning this game, but the Panthers certainly look pretty dang bad. Their defense is not great. Bryce Young kind of showed something at the end of that Cardinals game last week, but man, that offense is just really not doing a whole lot. I'm going to take the Falcons. I still believe in Michael Penix. Who did they just play? I forget who they just played last week, but they barely won. And yeah, I think the Falcons should be able to win this pretty easily. I think their defense is way better than the Panthers' defense. And I think AJ Terrell is out, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of a big hit. But still, I think their offense is just better and their defense is just better all the way around. And same thing here with the next game. We got Packers versus Browns. Packers are looking like they could be the best team in the league right now. Play calling's been on point. They cooked the Commanders, which cooked my Giants. And the Giants almost beat the Cowboys. So I think that Micah Parsons trade, generational talent, really changed that defense around. They got a great defensive coordinator. The offense looking explosive. I know that they're out. Jaden Reed, who broke his collarbone or something like that. He's out half the season, but nonetheless, Jordan Love is the real deal. Josh Jacobs is the truth. And Matthew Golden looks like a dog. So we're going to take the Packers. The Browns are probably going to go 0-17. Next game, this will be a good one, actually. So we got Texans versus Jags. Now, the Jags, I believe they ended up losing that game last week against the Bengals. Even after Joe Burrow got hurt, which is a little bit concerning for me. I'm not sure how they ended up losing that game. The Jaguars do look good, don't get me wrong, but man, that offense and just the compatibility, I've seen Trevor Lawrence showing off Liam Cohen on the sideline. Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't really had a good game yet, and that Texans defense is very real for sure. And I don't think they have very many injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to take the Texans here. I think that they showed me something against the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are still very good. And I think the Texans defense showed that they can hold a very good offense to, 20 points or something like that. So yeah, I'm going to take the Texans over the Jaguars. I just think they're the overall better, more well-rounded team. Following that, we have the Vikings versus the Bengals. Since the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow anymore, I think this is a pretty obvious choice for me, and I'm taking the Vikings. I understand the Bengals still have a good offensive weaponry, but their defense is worse than the Vikings by a good amount. And I know that the Vikings don't have J.J. McCarthy as well. I never saw the reason why. I'm guessing he got hurt or something like that. But the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell are known to pretty much put any quarterback in there and have an offensive success. In fact, the worst offensive success they've had is with J.J. McCarthy, funny enough. So I think their backup is Josh Dobbs or somebody like that. Either way, they have Brett Rypien as well, who I think is very underrated. I'm taking the Vikings simply for the fact that their defense is better and they have Justin Jefferson. So, but I could see this one going either way. Next game, we got Steelers versus the Patriots. Now, they have Steelers listed as the heavy favorites. I don't know about that one, okay? The Steelers lost to the Seahawks, and they almost lost to the Jets, okay? And I've been saying this for a while. I don't think the Jets are any good whatsoever. And the fact that game was even close, it could have been scripted, it could have been cinema. Aaron Rodgers returned to New York, Justin Fields going up against his old team, the Steelers. So, there could have been some sort of inciting going on, or I don't want to say an inside job or create any speculation, but the NFL definitely has some questionable things going on. Um, and I don't feel super confident picking the Steelers here. Now, I do think they might win just because their defense has got way more talent. Let me double check something. Is Jalen Ramsey out? Okay, no, looks like he's still good. So I thought I read somewhere that Jalen Ramsey was hurt, but looks like he's all good. Yeah, I am gonna take the Steelers. I do think this game could go either way. I'm big on the Patriots. I think Drake May is still super slept on. Their offense has been moving just fine. Defense is a little bit questionable still, but either way, I'll give it to the experience in Aaron Rodgers and their defense just being legitimately better than the Patriots. And then we got the Rams versus the Eagles, and they have the Eagles at a 93% chance. Now I am biased because I'm a Giants fan, but I'm not taking the Eagles here. That offense has been looking atrocious. Okay, they didn't put up very many points against the Cowboys defense. Where if you look at what the Giants just did to that Cowboys defense, they put up damn near 40 points. The Eagles couldn't even put up 30. And they barely put up 20 against the Chiefs as well, who have been looking very bad. The offense, I've said it before, they have an issue with their offensive coordinators and coaching. And it hasn't been super visible because they won the Super Bowl last year and they have an absolute super team thanks to Howie Roseman. But there's no way that Jalen Hurts should not be throwing for 100 passing yards in a game. And I don't want to hear the whole excuse of, oh, it's a running offense. It's a running offense. I mean, yeah, it's a running offense, but your quarterback has to throw the ball to be able to, like, win games, okay? You can't just run the ball all game. If he's not even throwing for 100 yards, that is concerning. I know they're 2-0, but they haven't really had that much competition, and the Chiefs clearly don't look like they are the same Chiefs that they have been in the past. And the Cowboys almost lost to my Giants, who are not very good either, so I'm going to take an upset here. I'm taking the Rams. I think the Rams almost beat them last year in the playoffs, and I think the Rams are very well rounded. They added Devontae Adams. They slowly improved their defense. You got Jared Verse going into year 2. You got some others going into year 2 as well. I'm taking the Rams here. I could see the Eagles winning. Obviously, like I said, they're a super team, hence the Eagles. But I think the Rams have a little bit of fire inside of them to come back and win this game after how they lost them in the playoffs last year. So give me the Rams over the Eagles. Then we got the Bucks versus the Jets. Yeah, Justin Fields is out for this game. I mean, I'm taking the Buccaneers. I'm not really going to say much about that. I don't think the Jets are very good whatsoever. They have a good defense, but the Bucks are just better on both sides of the ball, especially without Justin. Yeah. And oh boy, here we go with the Colts. Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of emotions toward the Colts being as good as they are and beating the Broncos last week. You know, week 1 I wrote them off. Daniel Jones' success is, oh, it's just the Dolphins. They have no defense. But he proved me wrong. He came back and he did it again against the Broncos. Now I have a few things to say about Daniel Jones' success. Okay, like I said, I'm biased. I'm a Giants fan. I don't want to say it was 100% like our coaching's fault that he did not do good because he did do good in 2022, right? But the thing with him is that he does bad under pressure, okay? When you give him time in the pocket, he did well for us in New York. He brought us to a divisional game. And what happened in 2022? That's when we had our most competent offensive line. And he did good. And we didn't really have very many weapons for him other than Saquon Barkley that year. So he has proven that he can be a good quarterback in New York. But I just think the offensive line struggles in New York and his lack of confidence because of how intense the media can be, it really just sent him down a path that he just needed to get out of there. I'm not one of those people that's like hating on him. Like I'm very happy that he's doing well in Indianapolis. The whole Indiana Jones nickname, I think it's great. But I do think that the Colts is just a much better system for him to be in because they clearly have much better offensive weapons and an offensive line that the Giants have ever had. Um, they've got Pittman, they've got Warren, top 5, potentially top 5 tight end. They got Pittman, who's a top 15-ish wide receiver one. Then you got Downs, you got Mitchell, you got Alec Pierce. They just have a lot of weapons on offense, let alone a top 5 running back in Jonathan Taylor and a top 5 offensive line unit. So it's a very quarterback friendly offense, and he's making the most out of it. And I'm not going to hate on that. The Colts have proved me wrong. Their defense is looking amazing with Lou Anarumo over there. And Cam Ward has looked good, but I just think that the team, they're still rebuilding. So I'm taking the Colts here. We got the Commanders versus the Raiders. Commanders did not look so good last week against the Packers, but I think that's because of how good the Packers really are. Raiders really have not had much effectiveness scoring in either game this season. Ashton Genty, a little bit questionable. He looks good, but the offensive line's terrible, so his performance and production has been a little bit questionable. I don't really think I need to think about this one too much. I'm just going to take the Commanders here. They're just the better overall team, and they have a much better quarterback. So give me the Commanders. Now, I did read something that Jaden Daniels might be hurt. If that's the case, I'm changing my pick in a heartbeat. But for now, we're going to go with the Commanders. We got the Chargers versus the Broncos to start off the 1 p.m. slate. So the Broncos I've been really high on the Broncos, but they lost the Colts last week somehow. They shouldn't have lost. That was definitely a last minute thing that the refs did. But the Chargers have just been looking too clean, in my opinion. That defense is really nice. Justin Herbert looking like an MVP season loading. Addison Beer is doing some crazy things to him, I guess. I don't know. I just think they coaching staffs in the NFL. Okay, I think the Chargers have one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh somehow saved Quentin Johnston, which is honestly almost an impossible task. I mean, that's basically like a prophecy fulfilled by like Jesus Christ only, because I just don't know how anyone could have saved that man, and he did. And the defense, despite having bad corners and just a overall not great talent all around the board, Jesse Minter is making that defense look like a top 3 defense in the NFL, okay? I'm taking the Chargers here. I think they're the more well-coached team, and I think that offense is more explosive than the Broncos. I think their defense is showing me that they are also better than the Broncos, but I could see the Broncos winning this one, okay? I think the Broncos defense on paper is better. Seahawks versus Saints. Saints the worst team in the NFL. Give me the Seahawks. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that one. Cowboys versus Bears. All right. Bears have been looking very underwhelming from what I thought they could be, I'll admit. The Cowboys, it's week 2, so it's really hard to predict these games. We haven't seen enough against teams, okay? The Cowboys' offense is amazing, but their defense is definitely bad, okay? I know they just signed, was it Jadeveon Clowney after that Giants game because of how atrocious their pass rush was? So maybe that'll help their pass rush out a bit. Just based on how the way things have been going right now and how badly the Bears got blown out by the Lions and lost to JJ McCarthy, who looks atrocious, I'm just going to take the Cowboys. I think it's a safer pick here. If I were to put money on it, I'd put money on the Cowboys. Simply because I think their offense is better and there's just less concerns about their defense, okay? The Bears have talent on defense, but they're doing some pretty sus things. Putting up 52 points to Lions. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to take the Cowboys. 49ers Cardinals. They got 49ers as the favorite. No, so without Brock Purdy and without George Kittle, I'm taking the Cardinals. I mean, I don't think they really have that many injuries on the offense. I know their defense has some injuries. Garrett Williams, got hurt. Will Johnson was hurt. Welter Nolan's been on IR to start the year. Gosh, I live in Arizona, so I should know this, but I don't know. I mean, I could see this game going either way as well, but just given the fact that they don't have Kittle and they don't have Brock Purdy, barring that these injuries that I saw are like keeping them out for the week, I think the Cardinals should be able to win this. I mean, they have a fully healthy offensive roster, maybe outside of some offensive linemen. They got Marv, they got James Conner, they got Kyler Murray, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I just think the Cardinals should be able to win this game, but I could see it going either way. If I had to put money on it, I'd take the Cardinals for the fact that they have their starting quarterback. All right, Chiefs Giants. You got prime time. This is my Giants' first home game of the year. Funny stat here that the Chiefs, the only team they have never beaten on the road is the Giants. Very weird stat. Patrick Mahomes, I think. But either way. Gosh, I don't know, man. Like the Giants looked really good offensively last game. The Chiefs have been looking really bad on both sides of the ball. I mean, their defenses look pretty good, I would say, for the most part. But oof, I don't know. If I was a betting man, I would of course have to put my money on the Chiefs because I can never bet on the Giants. But I could see the Giants winning this one. Call me crazy all you want. I'm gonna stand on that. The Giants could easily win this game. Patrick Mahomes, his weapons are trash. Rashee Rice is out. Travis Kelce looks washed as shit. Xavier Worthy's out. And really the Giants are getting Andrew Thomas back this week, which is a big addition. So they are thin on their linebacker room. Their offensive line is still pretty questionable. I don't know how they're going to hold up against that Chiefs pass rush. Steve Spagnuolo used to coach for the Giants, which is another factor in this as well. Like I said, if I had to pick a team and put my money on it, I would pick the Chiefs, but I definitely can see the Giants winning this. The 7% thing is, I'm guessing this just means that, yeah, so you can see here, like, their defense is better and our offense is better. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do the Chiefs break that stat that I was talking about earlier? Probably. Do the Chiefs start out 0-3? Most likely not. So yeah, for those reasons, I'm taking the Chiefs. All right, last game, we got Ravens versus the Lions. This should be an absolute cinema. I was wrong about the Lions. I mean, I did say they were going to start out slow, but they were starting against the Packers, who apparently are that really that good. I think the Ravens are just a better team. I think their offense is more explosive. I think their defense has been underwhelming, but I think that they can probably handle the Lions' offense. This will be a really good game, and I could also see this going either way. But again, if I had to put my money on something, I'm taking the Ravens. I would put my money on Lamar over Jared Goff, and I really think that's what this comes down to mostly. So that concludes my picks for Week 3. To summarize, we got Bills beating Dolphins, Falcons beating Panthers, Packers beating the Browns. We got Texans beating the Jaguars, Vikings beating the Bengals, Steelers beating the Patriots. Upset of the week, I got Rams beating the Eagles, Bucks beating the Jets, Colts versus Titans, and Colts beating the Titans. Commanders beating the Raiders, Chargers beating the Broncos, Seahawks beating the Saints, Cowboys beating the Bears, Cardinals beating the 49ers, Chiefs beating the Giants, and Ravens beating the Lions. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I stupid for making these predictions? Where did I go wrong? Let me know. Yeah. Bless you guys. God bless. Jesus is King. Amen. Peace.